We're going to talk music
Yeah.
and mindfulness and strength spotting around music today.
Yes.
So I want to know what you listen to on the way here,
What I listened to on the way here.
or what you typically listen to.
I have NPR or my music selection. I have a playlist called Hygge Times. I told you about that. Hygge Times.
Yes.
Hygge. Danish word for like comfort, coziness, and it's all. My friends describe my music taste as depressing. Like, not even joking, because it's like
No, it's I've been in the car with you. It's not. It's very.
it's like mellow indie alternative.
I was gonna say
Soft rock.
hipster, but I didn't want to put you in a category.
I appreciate that.
Because I like a lot of the same. City and Color.
Yep. Same
Um,
color. Gregory Alan Isakov, Blind Pilot.
Yes.
Let's see, Head in the Heart.
Yes.
Iron and Wine, like super
Which
mellow.
I love the same kind of
Yeah.
music.
Which is so funny.
But you don't have to get like pumped up on the way to work.
No,
Oh, like I'll listen to.
because you have to mentally
Night.
prepare for the day.
Have you ever been in my car and you see that
Yeah.
the seat
They're
button
all,
is
like-
worn down?
Yes.
There's nothing left to the
Ah.
seat button on the right.
That's
Because I don't go
hilarious.
backwards. I just go ahead. And I go to all my presets and then all my next
You
presets.
don't go backwards. You go ahead.
Yeah, I only go forward. Yeah. Hadn't thought about that. But if there's going to be like a Captain and Tennille moment, I'm not going to miss it.
A Captain and Tennille.
Captain and Tennille, Love Will Keep Us Together. You don't even know that song, do you?
No.
Well, you're going to now. And you'll love
Bob
it.
Saget or
Bob Seger.
I
Who I'm going to see in Des Moines.
Wait,
in
I
October.
I saw an advertisement for that on my Spotify account, and it was like Bob Seger, like in all like these electric colors and his like afro, and I was like, oh my gosh, I like know who that is.
No.
Not like you know, like curly brown hair. Not like it was Bob Seger, I promise.
Afro would be a stretch. for
No,
Bob.
no.
Like wavy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which it looked not like afro, but like it looked very ostentatious for an older white male.
He is elusive and kind of like the whole "Where is Richard Simmons" thing right
Right,
now.
because
So
he
the
won't
fact that
release
he's- right the
his
fact
music
he's
publicly.
touring is amazing. So we are not missing it. It's in October, going to Des Moines. I would get a ticket for you, but I feel like it would be a serious.
It would be a waste of
It would
money.
be a waste. I'll
I
send you
don't know.
snaps.
Sorry, I don't appreciate it.
So Captain Tennille, their album cover is the two of them, and he has like a captain outfit on, and she's just totally 70s. The song came out in 1975, the year I was born, part of the reason I love it. But they've got a dog, a bulldog, sitting with them.
Yes.
I'm totally, but the song is, I mean, I will stop what I'm doing.
Give us a little bit of a preview.
Yeah, I'm not going to sing it. I won't sing. You know what? I've done karaoke. I can count on this hand, and I will never forget Fairmont Legion. I did karaoke, and this guy came up to me and said, "For a little tiny thing, you sure have a loud voice." Not like you sure have a great voice,
A
or
loud
you sure
voice.
have a powerful voice, or a lovely. It was a loud
You
voice.
should have a loud voice.
And I grew up with my sister singing, and that's why I learned to. My mom would say, "Just play piano, Allison. Stick to the keys."
Melch?
But my sisters and my mom have beautiful voices, and Lauren does too. Which
Which I'm sure you do. You just don't give yourself credit for.
no, I really don't.
You're biased, I think.
Let's do a poll. People who know me, am I a good singer?
I've never heard you sing. This is the downside of it.
And I won't.
I know.
I had to sing Happy Birthday in a play once. I would not do it until the night of production, the night of go time. I wouldn't do it.
So therefore, we cannot do a poll because none of us have the correct information.
The people watching, I'm going to post this on Facebook. And friends of mine, or non-friends, that's fine too. Am I a good singer? Log in and let me know. I can't really say log in. Type in.
Oh my gosh.
Comment below.
Comment.
So we're going to talk about music and mindfulness today and strength spotting because I went to an awesome mindfulness retreat because I thought I wasn't good at mindfulness. And then during an interview, I realized that I've been practicing mindfulness for years and years and years. It was in the music, playing the piano, but also how I get lost in music. And so we probably don't Jen and Millie as often on camera as we Jen and Millie in the office. So I thought today I'm going to really, really age myself and talk about cassettes. So I had to go digging through at like 6 o'clock this morning our storage room. These are kind of dusty. I would never have kept cassettes. Like seriously. Like once it was moving on to something different, I was moving on to something different. That's the first present I ever bought, Mike. This is a kind of a rarity Prince album.
Yeah.
And he had it on cassette. And I special ordered it from Homer's, and I went in, and he was like, "Oh, are you the lady who ordered Parade?" So it's from the movie Under the Cherry Moon. Now Prince had a couple movies. He had Purple Rain. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
I'm from Minnesota.
Oh, good.
I know
Yeah,
Prince.
okay. All right. So, Under the
I'm
Cherry
offended.
Moon. I'm sorry. Under the Cherry Moon is a movie. This is kind of a rarity album.
Okay.
And so I got it for Mike, and I went into Homer's to pick it up, and they were like, "Oh, are you the lady that ordered that?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "What's your favorite song?" And I said, "It's not for me." And then I could just tell he was like,
Oh, respect level just went down.
"You're not cool." Like I thought you were cooler than you were. So I got in our storage room and found Beastie Boys, License to Ill. I had this. This is Mike's, which he told me I could not lose them or let them melt in the car. And then I also had the Cars, Heartbeat City. Have you heard the Cars?
No.
Hello Again.
Hello again.
Steph, you've heard the Cars?
Sing it a little bit for me.
No. Rico Kasich. He's married to a model. Paulina, starts with a P. She's a Russian model.
Parskova?
Something like that.
Something.
That
She's
sounds
older.
Russian.
Beastie Boys. The reason I brought this is that whole circulating concerts list. And, I tried to do it here with staff, the concerts you've been to, the ones that one's a fib, the others are true. I had Beastie Boys on my list because this is a wish. And one of the things that led me to the mindfulness retreat was it had been on my list. You told me about it. And I have missed out on things in my life because I just didn't take the time to go. I should have gone to Beastie Boys, and now I can't because members are deceased. So, brought cassettes, brought a CD, and then brought vinyl. Yes. Brand new vinyl, which is really, really cool because I can listen to The Record Company, which is one of my newest, my favorite new bands. I can buy it on vinyl, get the MP3. My favorite album growing up.
Yes.
I had the biggest crush on Kenny Rogers and believed because my middle name was Marie and his wife's name was Marie that we were destined to be together. So Kenny looks a little bit different now,
Yep.
but I could describe this. I've listened to it and looked at it so much I could describe it, in my sleep. So I love this album. And then, so that was one that I had growing up. And then this was an old record that I bought. Another rarity. This is Metamorphosis by the Stones.
Yeah.
Monkey Man is one of my favorite songs, and it's on this album. So you can buy new vinyl, which is like total full circle. You can buy new vinyl, old vinyl, or keep your vinyl and play it on record players. And I know you have a record player too.
I do.
And then I brought this, which is the old iPod, has my name engraved, can't get it to turn on. See how loud that is? And it's heavy.
Very heavy.
So when I first got that,
It's on! It's on!
oh, it's on.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, we can't probably play it, but try.
No.
Oh,
Okay, I'll keep
I
working.
strapped that thing to my arm
It's
and
like
ran with it.
Your left arm was so much stronger than your right arm at the end of your workout.
Yes. And then my
That's
other
good.
favorite way to listen to music now, besides, well, I can't listen to cassettes anymore. Mike can in his car. I cannot. Seriously, Dusty. Our playlists.
Mixtapes. You
I
mean?
do that still too.
I used to make a killer mixtape when I was growing up, and my very first mixtape was from my friend Travis, who introduced me to Zeppelin. And this was it had been late 80s, early 90s when everybody else was like starting to listen to Milli Vanilli. And I was listening to Zeppelin. And I had not heard it because it was, late 60s, early 70s music. So got totally into Zeppelin. It was my first mixtape. And then I started making mixtapes for other people. If I have made a mixtape, and there's Zeppelin right there.
Hey.
If I've made a mixed CD for you, you are loved. And if you have given me a mixed CD, I really, really love you. So my favorites are those from others. My friend Erin every year makes me what she calls the EJ mix. I've got all kinds of awesome.
So here's
mixed
a
playlists.
here's a dating me. I don't even know how to burn a mixed CD. How to make a mixed CD. I mean, I did when I was like really young, but I don't I don't even have a CD disc drive on my computer anymore. I don't have I would have to buy an external CD disc drive.
Troubled by this.
But that's what it's become. Like my Mac doesn't have a CD anymore.
And you know what? When I got my Mac, that was the first thing I asked.
You made sure you could.
Uh-huh.
My old one did, but now I just don't need it anymore. And now I just I never use CDs or if I
What if
watch
you
a
want to make
movie
a CD
or
for somebody?
Do you know the last time I made a CD for someone? I was in 7th grade probably.
I just made one last week.
I know, she gave me one for Christmas this last year. And I loved it.
I
was so
love to
great.
make mixed CDs for people.
I'll make playlists for people.
How
I
do
love
you
to make
get 'em to 'em?
playlists. I'll share it with them. So if you're on Spotify, you can share a playlist.
Spotify. Blech.
Okay, well, I don't
I mean,
run
I
with
was-
this thing on my arm.
Oh my God.
Okay, hey now, let's value each other.
All right. That is.
No, I know.
What, can you teach me how to do that? Because I don't know
Yes.
how to do it.
It's so easy and it's so wonderful, and you can download stuff so you can watch it, listen to it at any time.
My phone doesn't have much storage though.
That's
Does it have to
okay.
go through your phone?
It goes through your phone, but it's like an app, and everything is on the app. And it doesn't take a lot of storage because most of it, you only if you have Spotify Premium, you can download. If you have regular Spotify, you can't download.
What if you just have Pandora?
Pandora's fine. You just can't select what you want to play.
I know, and that's what I love about it. It's like a surprise. That's how I find out about all these
The new-
really
yeah.
funky
Obscure bands.
Ava
yeah.
Brothers songs, and I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah. Okay. So Spotify has Spotify Radio embedded in it, so you can make your own playlists. You can save your own playlists, and you can listen to them at any time. But then you can also do a radio, which is just like Pandora. So my Hoogly Times is a definitive list. It has 200 songs in it.
Is that what plays
and-
on your TV?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And so that's Spotify on the TV, and then you also can do radio. So if I want to find new stuff that's similar to my vibe like that, I can do a Hoogly Times radio, and Spotify will grab other songs from different artists or the same
Okay.
artists that are very similar to the style of my playlist.
Okay. So, I will try. However, I still
Yeah,
want to make
that's
my
okay.
mixed CDs.
It's really okay. I don't want to make you change.
No,
but I'm just
I
gonna
think I
open
should
your
know
mind.
about it. Yeah. I should probably know about these things.
Great. I like that.
So, to strength spot around this, you just shared your learner with me in a very, very kind, gentle, bring the old lady along way. And then I was thinking this morning about what does our music, our favorite songs, how do they speak to our strengths? And so we'll send out, we've got a strengths playlist, certain songs that sound like Achiever or sound like Communication or sound like Woo. And so we'll send that out, and then if you have contributions, we would love to hear them. But I was thinking about certain bands that I really strongly dislike, and bands that okay. One that I don't really like is Neil Young, except for this song called One of These Days. And the lyrics are about, and I'm all into lyrics. If you follow me on Twitter, my hashtag is Truth in Lyrics. I love the lyrics to the song. One of these days I'm going to sit down and write myself a letter, and then another lyric is, one of these days I'm going to write my friends a letter. And I was thinking about that. Why do I like the song? Well, because it's communication.
And woo, and empathy,
Yes.
and input.
So if we were to think about our music choices, and we were to think about the music that we love, could we strength spot around that? So when I asked you, what do you listen to on the way in? I mean, that's totally your election.
Yep. I was just thinking.
Get me in my head.
Yep.
The head and the heart. I get lost in my mind.
Yes, I love
Lyric.
that song.
That just came to me when you
Yeah.
were thinking about coming in. You get lost in your mind.
It is, and sometimes it's not even about listening to the music. It's about having the tone set, so that, because my brain will just wander, and all of a sudden I'll be like, oh my gosh, this is a great song, and it's like 4 minutes into the 5-minute song, and so I'll have to like start it over again because I don't even realize it's playing, because it's more so about the tone and the environment and kind of the atmosphere that's set as I'm in my car or in my apartment or whatever.
And the NPR, I mean, that's totally your learner in an election.
Yep.
What can I learn in this short amount of time? And I know you do a ton of podcasts. And I have a hard time with podcasts and books on tape. I want to get into my music, or even sometimes get into the silence.
Sure.
So when I was participating in this mindfulness retreat, which I think is such a great concept for us to think about when it comes to mentoring, how can we help students to be in a mindful moment? And it doesn't require meditation, and it doesn't require total silence. Sometimes you can get really mindful in music, or in a little bit of quiet time, or in your NPR. I mean, whatever it is, you can get mindful in it, I think, if it honors your strengths.
Yeah.
So we got to talking about these cards too, and I was thinking about that this morning as well. When my strengths coach Kristen introduced me to these cards a few years back, she laid them all out on the table, and she was like, which one are you drawn to? And I went right to the concert, which totally speaks to woo for me. That's how, when I'm in a concert and I'm surrounded by a lot of people, I mean, it doesn't even matter if they're like sweaty and in my space, I am in the moment of the music and that many people around. So we kind of wanted to talk about these cards a little bit. There it is.
I was going to say, I know it's here. I'm trying to remember which one I chose.
Love this.
Oh,
and
I
I
chose
love
this one.
capturing this. You did.
This is the one I chose.
And do you remember why?
I think because of like all of my strengths. I mean, for me, I love being outside, and so I was just drawn to that. And I love that there are no people around you, like in the middle of a bunch of sweaty people, and that's overwhelming to me. And then I think with this, it's, I mean, very linear, very logical, very patterned, but also with railroad tracks, even though the picture starts here, you know that there are tracks before that, and then there are tracks that come after it. And so it's this like pathway and this journey, and that is a big thing for me. So connectedness,
and
ideation.
you have to look back in order to go forward. And
Yeah.
a train track is the best way to describe the beauty of context, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's there. You can't deny it. It's not like the train just starts
Yep.
here. It came from the
Somewhere.
point before. Yes.
Yep.
So let's talk about these cards.
Okay.
You want to do, how do we do this?
Well, we just
Trade 'em?
kind of did it.
Oh,
So really, how does this? So for you, how does that represent some of your themes?
absolutely woo. Love being around people, especially people lost in the music and lost in the moment. Everybody gets along for the most, well, at least at the concerts I go to. Everybody gets along, and it's kind of like this camaraderie and this sense of,
There's a sociological theory for this.
Yes, I loved that I was at a concert, and I can see maybe 3 generations, sometimes 4, at the same concert. That to me is just the way that music works. So my kids, the first CD that I bought Lauren was Journey's Greatest Hits, because she was obsessed with Journey. Oh, actually, prior to that, she got into Dixie Chicks, and for Christmas I got her the Dixie Chicks Greatest Hits album, and she listens to it all the time, and Sean's like, enough with the Dixie Chicks. Kind of like when she went through the Civil Wars. Do you remember them?
Yes.
And they're broke up
Civil
now.
Wars. Yes, but they were independent artists before. They got married, did a couple albums together.
I didn't know they were married.
Yeah, they were married, and now they have both done independent albums after as well.
Are they still married?
They're still married.
Oh.
And yeah, I'm pretty sure they're still married.
Sean called that torture music when we
Ouch! I have
Lauren and I
multiple Civil
loved
War
it.
songs on my Hillary
Lauren and I
Times
loved
playlist.
it. But to her love of Journey was kind of remarkable to me because that came from me. Sean loved Styx when he was little because I played that all the time in the car. So, you know, just what you introduce your kids to or what you introduce other people to can lead them to an appreciation.
Yeah.
So you could be at a concert and see 3 generations.
Yeah.
But you could also see someone who's really young. I saw that at the Stones concert. You know, really, really young kids who just have this deep appreciation. Bruce Springsteen's a great example of that. I mean, you'll see a 4th grader who's holding a sign that says "Play Jungle Land," and I'm thinking, how do you even know this? And then you've got people who are much older than me. So to me, that's the piece of this that when I see this, I think all present, all in the moment, all in a happy music place.
good. That's good.
That's what that speaks to me.
I like
So it represents woo, but I think it also represents connectedness and maybe even a little bit of empathy, because my heart's there. How does this picture represent the way I work with others?
Yeah. How does it?
Well, I'd like to take y'all to a concert. Also, I think about the connections. How I manage the things I'm responsible for each day. Well, I start my day with music,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking about what I've got to get done, what it motivates or energizes you. Music. I run now, lately listening to Zeppelin, which was the first mixtape that was ever given to me. It motivates me, it gets me going. And then how I think about and process information through music. Wow, that was totally
easy
unintentional and just
Wow. Yeah, don't do that on top of your
No,
final.
no, I won't. I can't put this in the car. Don't anybody let me put this in the car because I
No.
can't have those out. This
Good
was
deal. That's
totally
good.
represented.
That's good.
All right.
So
Tess.
mine, we talked a little bit about kind of each of those 5 themes too. Definitely the context, adaptability. I think this is interesting because the thing I keep thinking about is that railroads and the rail system has been around for so long, but it continues to change and serve different purposes. Like, you don't know a lot of people that do railway for travel in the United States, where you do in Europe, but it meets kind of the needs of what's going on around it. And I kept thinking about that because now I don't often see trains, but when you do, they're carrying supplies, they're carrying coal, they're carrying energy. And so, yeah, I guess that for me was something I was musing about. And I
Have
was
you ever
like,
done that?
Have I ever done what?
Taken a train trip?
I have, yes. Yeah, when I was in Europe, I took a train.
What about here?
I have not here. Mm-mm.
Is that something you would do?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. So, but I think like the big thing maybe with adaptability is the idea to for a train, I love this illustration because it's something that has been around for so long. So and the way that it's set up so lends to context, but it constantly, its purpose remains the same, but changes and alters a little bit based on what's going on around it.
Right.
So I think it's a really good blend. I'm just like processing this out loud. And
Yes.
so I think this is a really good blend of those two. Strategic, obviously, it has to be set in certain patterns and certain specific dynamics and direction in order, like if you have one of these off or one of these starts to veer, like they have to be, the rails have to be a certain amount apart, and you have to have enough stability, and it has to be, this is all patterned, it's all if you
patterned.
measure, they're the exact same distance apart,
Right.
you know, exact, and so
Which
very
is
strategic.
always how I see your strategic, is that linear pattern awareness. Like, you know how to get out of the town that we arrived in.
Yeah.
You know where my keys are, because you see it.
Yeah, I see it that way. And so, learner, I think that's just everything. I think this just really could lend to learner because I was not around or alive, neither were you at the dawn of the railroad generation.
I'm surprised at that.
But I think, I'm not surprised at that. I just learned your birth year is 1975, so didn't know that. Could have looked it up in Civic Corps, I guess. But I think continuing to understand, for me, where I see my learner in this is understanding what the original intent and purpose was. And so being able to go back to the blueprints, which is also such a context thing, and being able to say, well, this originally served a purpose to connect peoples in different areas, people across Appalachia to those on the other side, to be able to, you know, broaden commerce, broaden trade, broaden connections. And so it's a big thing, I think, with that. And individualization, I think, even though this is very similar, and you could say it looks a lot like consistency, for me, I know that the train that travels, each one is carrying different things. Each one has a different conductor. Each one is going to a different place, has a different story, has different people that touched it at every point in time along the trail. So,
Well, and I bet you can see the individual differences in each track.
in each track, yeah.
Uh-huh. That you probably see immediately.
Yeah. So, how does this picture represent the way you work with others? Well, there are no people in this picture. I think for me, I think two things that stand out in how I work with others. I think knowing the intent and the purpose behind something and having a similar vision to look forward to, having a similar direction that we can then rally behind is really important for me. And knowing that this has one direction, one point, one destination that we can get everyone together and say this is where we're going.
How about data?
What do you mean?
Data collection, Civic Corps, and looking at that.
I think this is like dashboard partnership, which is a lot of what I'm in the midst of right now, saying, okay, there are, yes, 150 different people who report data to me or report data to teammates, and so it could be done in very different ways, but we're all getting to that same destination of ensuring that our outcomes are positive, ensuring we're making a positive difference, and then being able for me to then turn around, analyze that, and report back. So here's what your chapter did really well, here's what your data looks like. And so
I was thinking about where you came from
yeah.
to where it's headed, and all the improvements and all the ways that it's more meaningful
Yeah.
than it was back on that train track 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3, I mean.
Yeah, that's cool. Cool. How does this picture represent how you manage things you're responsible for each day? I think I do things very linearly, very systematically. I have certain reports I run every day. I make sure I return emails. I make sure I'm in the office. I usually get here between 7:30, 8:30, sometime in the morning. It's pretty routine, which then people laugh because I have low discipline, low consistency, but it's based a lot on my strategic, on my context, on other things that make me know that the way I think and the way I do things has to be patterned, or else it drives me a little bit nuts. How does this picture represent what motivates or energizes you? I think having purpose is what makes me get up every day, come here, knowing that even if I sit and I work on dashboards for 8 hours today, just plugging in numbers, that it's serving a purpose, that these numbers are going to be given to chapters, they're going to be used, they're going to help continue the legacy and the impact that Teammates is making at the local chapter. That definitely energizes me, knowing that these numbers are a compilation of the people that we're impacting, these young lives, that then we get to continue to do so.
And personally, I see you're energized by nature.
Oh, yes.
You're totally
very much
energized
so.
by being out in it.
Very much so. And then how does this picture represent how you think and process information? Linearly and systematically. And sometimes it takes a while. You don't see an end to this. You don't see the beginning of it.
Right.
It's a constant process of processing information, reevaluating, letting things simmer a while.
So if you thought about that in context of mindfulness, you're in that moment. You can put yourself in there and know that you would totally be present.
Yes.
And that's how I feel about
That's neat.
the music.
They're very different.
This totally appeals to me.
Oh, this appeals to me.
Why?
Ooh, because it's like a maze. Because I would know how to get out of it. And it'd be a challenge to do so.
And there's no people.
There are no other people. So nobody to get me off track or to say you're wrong, Tez. Okay.
This appeals to me. This appeals to me. So these are very different from this. That appeals to me.
I know it does. This appeals to me.
Oh, that is completely your strategic.
So
this looks like an accountability chart too, by the way.
So we could probably go on and talk about, divide these into two paths, like this appeals to you, this appeals to me. But it's really neat because this like exercise and all of what we've talked about just reminds me of what we do with mentees a lot when we do strengths days. When we do strengths days in communities, we meet with mentees oftentimes, and one of the activities we started doing this year is giving them just a blank sheet of paper, markers, crayons, and saying, take your strengths and depict what they smell like, what they taste like, what they feel like, kind of show us what they are. And I love what we talked about today is because we were engaging two senses to say, what does it sound like? What do our strengths sound like? And what do our strengths maybe look like? Or how can we, not just in action, but in a depiction of art or a picture. And so being able to take them from just interactions or characteristics, like you can easily see when someone is talking, when you're using your strengths, I can easily pick that out. But I can also pick them out in a picture and saying, oh, I know this would appeal to you because I know you and I know your strengths, or I know your taste in music and I know this is how you use music. So being able to take strengths just beyond to another level.
Right. And those pictures that the students make, and we give them such little time to think about it and minimal materials, and they put together just phenomenal strengths descriptions. And since we're talking about Strengths Explorer, the next few weeks on the Strengths blog, I will attach a couple of those strengths pictures that the students created. There's one that's really interesting about achieving. So we'll take a look at some of those and send those out. But I think that's such a simple strengths activity that you could do anywhere. You could do with anybody. You know, what does this look like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? If you thought of a song, what song would represent your strengths? So we'll send out that list, and then we'll also send the link to these, which you can purchase at the Gallup store. They're great activities. Interesting. You've got questions right here on the back. So we'll send out the link where you can purchase these, and we'll also send out those strengths song list. But we would love to hear from you. How would you describe your strength? How would you represent those mindfulness moments where you're just in it? Yours might be something a lot more peaceful than music, or it may be a mindfulness practice that you didn't even realize that you had. I think one of the things for me during that retreat, I came in thinking I know nothing about this. And then when I was asked and we started thinking about what did you do when you were younger, I realized that I had been practicing mindfulness by playing the piano, and it was actually in the pause between the notes that I could recognize. I love Tchaikovsky, which is very, very slow moving, a lot of rests, a lot of change in tempo. I loved that music even at a young age. And so to think about, talking with your mentee and talking with students and talking with your family and talking with your coworkers, what are those moments that you are just so in it, you get lost in time. And it seems like you're just right there, present. And that's really what mindfulness is. It doesn't have to look like a fancy practice. It can just be in noticing those points throughout your day that you have that sense of being in. So thanks in advance for teaching me about Spotify. And maybe all my friends will be excited that I won't be sending them a CD this year for Christmas, that I'll be sending them a playlist. Maybe.
Who knows?
I bet they like the CD. Plus, I've been pinning a whole bunch of CD cover designs.
Oh my gosh.
They're the coolest. You can like sketch them out, like mountains and all kinds of cool things.
Alrighty, well, thanks for joining us.
Happy, what is today?
Today's Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.